I'm Dr. Ludmila Schaefer, and I level the playing field of knowledge around wellness, medicine, and research to help you to make informed decisions.
Welcome to the Doctor Connect, where we are connecting through inspiring stories and providing education and information around wellness, health, cancer, and medical technology. I'm your host, Dr. Ludmila Schaefer, medical oncologist, broadcasting from Kansas City in the United States. All information discussed on this platform does not substitute your medical care. Guests on this platform sharing own stories, experiences, and conclusions. And today, our special topic of the discussion is mindset and medical technology. And I'm joined by very special guests. So I would like everyone, please stay tuned. And we're going to discuss a lot about new technology and new advances. For me, as being over 25 years in medicine, starting everything from looking at the microscope and have a very limited technology, over a period of years evolved that right now we have a lot of new next generation sequence. We look at microbiome, we look at genomic, proteomic, and many unfamiliar terminology to the community. And my main goal is for you and for all audience to bridge the gap between the scientists and the community. So we all together level the playing field of knowledge around this, as well as see how that evolve further our healthcare system, our care, and so many new things within us. And with that, I would like to welcome our first guest is Awais Bajwa, and he's a very special guest. Awais, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here, Ludmila. Sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, no, excellent. We are here all learning from each other and connecting with each other. And I would like to make it more friendly platform. If you would please tell us full name, where you're located, and what you do, and a little bit of your backstory.
Sure. My name is Awais Bajwa. I am based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I am a CEO of Ophthalmatics. This is a healthcare artificial intelligence company. So introducing myself a little bit, I'm born and raised in Pakistan. I am in information technology industry for the last 15 plus years. I have worked and lived in almost 4 countries, starting from Pakistan. I lived in Dubai, Middle East. Then I lived in Canada, and the US is my 4th country to live and work in. And I'm fascinated by technology. I have done a lot in different cultures, different organizations, different customs, and I speak multiple languages, by the way. I speak 5 languages also. So I bring a lot of experience in overall technology. And one of the things I've seen is there is always been an evolution in the technology. So we started when 1999 or 1995 when internet came. At that time, if I go back and see, like this is like advanced, a lot more innovation that we can think. Now, for the last 6 years, I have been working in artificial intelligence and machine learning. That is what my passion is. I am fascinated by the technology and the opportunities it brings for all communities. And I think there is no industry I can think of that cannot get revolutionized by this. So a little bit story of what my startup is, if you allow me.
Yes.
Yeah. So I visited my hometown in 2019, and my parents are diabetic patients. Both of my parents are diabetic patients. So they need a regular examination of eyesight because of there is a very eye vision threatening disease called diabetic retinopathy that need to be evaluated at least once in a year. So they had a hard time in finding the ophthalmologist. They couldn't get an appointment, and then There was not proper system of that. So then same year when I came back to US, I thought like, let's check out. So I'm not a diabetic patient, but I just wanted to explore.
Well, you're advocate, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. No, I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said you are the best advocate for your family.
Absolutely. So I tried to find out what's the process here. So I found that very here, even in US, the overall process to see eye exam for the diabetic patient is very inefficient, and actually it's very costly. So then I looked at the statistics. So diabetes is actually a global epidemic, we call it sometimes. So it's a 463 million population suffer with diabetes. Only in US there is 35 million diabetic patient, and in US only there's a 327 billion annual spend on diabetes, where because of the inefficient system or something that is productivity waste is around 90 billion. Now, I was very passionate about AI, and I was actually hunting for the use case where I can leverage my experience and help community. So I thought this is a great problem for me. Now that time I started this investigating. I found some of the companies working in AI in ophthalmology domain. And special thing about ophthalmology is that it is more lean towards the images. And one of the special branch in AI is called computer vision and deep learning. Deep learning makes it happen in computer vision. So that was somehow my specialty was at that time when I started. Then we started researching. I tried to acquire some data sets because AI is data hungry. So I had an initially hard time in acquiring the data, but somehow using connections and finding some people, I was able to train machine learning software that was actually detecting diabetic retinopathy with 90% accuracy. And one of the special thing about our product is, like for a doctor, like as of now, if you go to primary care, you don't have anything to have eye examination. So that's why the studies shows that 80% of the diabetic population or 70+%, they don't go to ophthalmologists. The problem is that it is a disease that can diabetic retinopathy can, if it is developed, and it is, maybe you know better than me. I'm not a doctor, but I have just researched on that. So this is it's irreversible once it grows and it progresses, and early detection is highly required. So this way, if we have in primary care clinics AI leveraging diagnostics for diabetic retinopathy, it can change the whole game. Now, we have done a lot of research and development, and we are able to have some of the system that is currently with the FDA working. I'm working with the FDA. My team is working with the FDA. And the system is used by multiple hospitals across different parts of the world, and we are doing investigational studies, and I got a great feedback. So this technology, I'm excited about that. The deep learning and AI could be applied to multiple other diseases, multiple other conditions, and even our platform has a capability to be applied even to cancer research. So I'm working on a publication. Hopefully within soon we will publish some papers that there are few special techniques in deep learning that we can apply, and we can detect very minute diseases, tiny lesions. So that's what is one of the research we have done, and I'm very excited about this technology.
Yeah, so I see that it's a lot of this passion developing. You sort of start from the roots and coming from the family, and you basically develop everything, being an advocate for your family. And also you brought a very important point that, and congratulations on the paper and research. And I really wish that your research, and if any support, with me and all audience, we really would like to support you, because we do need this. As of right now, Awais, that you brought up very important issue. The primary care physicians, the whole healthcare system right now is very overwhelmed. And it's not a secret. It's very difficult to navigate. I see patients every day. People leave doctor's appointment that it's very difficult to understand terminology. With the primary care, some other specialties, just overwhelmed. So we are looking for new tools, diagnosis, especially like you said, diabetic retinopathy, that's something irreversible. And those tools to help physicians move forward and diagnose early, I think that's the very, very important point. So how do we advocate and how do we spread this not only in the nation but across the world, that collaboration between what you are doing and primary care doctors? Because just one caveat in this, that a lot of physicians right now feel overwhelmed because with all new technology, I feel like we're just not catching up. And I'm sitting in front of computer, see one patient, I have to do 30 to 50 clicks just to put one order. But how do you think we can collaborate and work together that we bring your technology to our patient bedside?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you have raised a very good point when you were talking before, when we started the talk. Like, there is actually a little gap in understanding from the medical domain and technology. And I think this is a golden time in the history where there is so much opportunity is presented by the technology. I mean, there's a lot more opportunity. And I think medical community need to just shake hand with the technology people in a good way to understand the minimum technology basics and then try to adopt and then finding opportunities together. Number one. Second is that this technology, like for example, in ophthalmologists have a limited time. So they need to do surgeries, they need to spend quality time with the patients, and also they need to educate the patients. So their time is very valuable. So now leveraging AI, we can make sure that this is, first of all, artificial intelligence is never going to replace any doctor, by the way, first thing. Second is that the AI is going to help mass screening, going to make sure that doctors have some time to spend with the patient, spend to where they really need to spend the time. And then, as I said, from the primary care side, primary care physicians, if they adopt the technology, they will find out, like, as more patients they come, so how much time they're saving. And then it's very, by the way, from the commercial side, primary care physicians can also be reimbursed. There's a CPT code available now in AI using diabetic retinopathy. So I think this is a collaborative effort.
Yes, and right now, if we move in from primary care, I'm a subspecialist and I treat gastrointestinal cancers. And I don't think that I see one, single person. Well, even if I go in a neighborhood, I don't think one single person would not complain on the vision, and including myself, and I don't even have diabetes. So I think all of it, we are very overwhelmed, and also we have to see patients very precise. And if someone see for specific diagnosis and then already have a problem, what, me as a subspecialist also, that's probably similar issue, right? I'm just trying to see how we can collaborate and how we can help, because I see a patient and I don't know what to do with the eyes.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one thing I just want to add here from for the viewers who are in a medical domain, and just to see, so artificial intelligence, there's a lot of hype also behind that. I mean, this is not such complicated, but there is some commercial aspect, and then because of that, a lot of hype is there. But I think main challenge in AI is a sustainability and explainability. So luckily, what we are building now is we are trying to make a decision, and also we are trying to explain why we made a diagnostic. So that is one of the unique things that we are presenting. Now, this in turn will make regulatory people have more confidence in our decisions. Physicians have more confidence. I mean, for example, primary care, maybe they need to know what's happening in the eye side, why we are making that decision. And the future of AI is really makes me excited sometime, because one of the pipeline we are working is we are trying to correlate patient history, like what was the eating habits and why all the decisions have been made, and what is the future of diagnostics and prognostics and descriptive kind of analytics for the patient. So that is like a next level of thing. And also in the eye side, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell some terminologies, but I can say one thing. It's possible in the future that you can look into the eye and you can predict what could be the future, let's say, cardiovascular diseases possibilities are. I mean, again, this is just some of the research that we are doing, but there's a lot of possibilities. So that's why I'm really excited about AI and its possibilities. And I'm on a mission. One side is commercial aspect, but the main thing I'm looking is how much impact that AI can make, especially for the rural population. Forgotten billion people, they don't have access to the healthcare and medical technology. I mean, even ophthalmologists are not there. So how much this technology can help those people? That's what one other excitement I have.
Yeah, and right now speaking about healthcare disparities, and we'll continue conversation at the top of the hour. That's exactly very valid point. So thank you so much, Awais, for sharing this, and definitely we wish you all success, and we'll stay all tuned. And I advise everyone, all audience, please stay tuned, because Awais with Bajwa, CEO of Analytics. And Awais, we thank you so much for being, but also I would love for you to stay, if you can, at the top of the hour so we can join a panel discussion.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ludmila. You're doing great. This is a great forum. I think a lot people need to come and share knowledge, especially from the medical community. And just to tell you, I mean, I am very open if anyone want to connect with me to get to know more about our technology and even want to learn from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Awais Bajwa, CEO of Analytics, and I will see you shortly. And with that, thank you everyone for staying with us. And I would like to bring our next guest, Goodwin Chan. All right. Yes, welcome, Godwin. And thank you so much for being with us. So we just opened a very important topic, and I would like to continue our conversation. And please tell us your full name, where you're located, and also a little bit of backstory and how mindset and medical technology related to you.
Sure. So thank you for the warm welcome, Ludmila, for sure. So I'm Godwin. I'm here based in near the Toronto area here in Canada. So it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, for sure. And I guess where I can begin with my personal story. So it all goes back to kind of when I was in university. So when I was doing my undergraduate degree, I did all my education is here in Canada, and my only goal in life back then was to make it to medical school. That was the only thing I was focused on. Everything else was purely a distraction. And so I did everything for it. I got the high GPA. I wrote the MCAT twice, actually.
Okay.
And yes, the first time my writing section didn't go so well. So that's why I had to rewrite. And I did a lot of extracurricular activities just because you know how medical school is very competitive nowadays. And so for the chance to apply, and I applied to Canadian medical schools for a couple of application cycles. And the closest I ever got to making it in to medical school was I was placed on the final waiting list at the University of Toronto. And after a couple of weeks, I was let go of that, unfortunately. And so after that, I did a master's degree, and my background actually is in biochemistry and business with a focus on pharmaceuticals. And so I did basically studied the science and business aspects of the pharmaceutical industry, if you will. And for my master's degree, I did drug discovery research in particular, so a lot of molecular biology, bioinformatics as well. And after that, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't get into medical school again twice, and I was contemplating, and I did a lot of deep introspection work. And what I realized and what I came out of that was that I was not truly interested in medicine as I did when I was younger. And there were a lot of different reasons for that, but I had the maturity to just I know there's a lot of people who would continue applying again and again and again. I know people who were very persistent and who got in after 3, 4, 5 times. I don't like to say I gave up. I like to say that I had a change of heart.
It's actually, it's very important, because when we look back, that's when we connect the dots. And initially we think that's what it is, but now, everything what I learned about you and how much value you are bringing, I'm actually happy you are in this field, because looking back, connecting the dots, that's where you are, just like you said. Yeah, go with the passion. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm still very much healthcare adjacent. I mean, I am starting pharmacy school in September after all. And so how it came about to pharmacy being a viable career option for me was that I simply started working at one. It was one thing to learn about the concepts in class. It was another thing to work in that environment, be immersed in that environment. And I currently work at a local small independent store. And with that came a lot of autonomy. So I was able to experience just all the different aspects of pharmacy, from billing, stocking, managing the cashier, and just everything in between, right? So I was able to get a bird's eye view and kind of be deep in the weeds for just pharmacy operations in general. And in that environment, I'm always a curious person, just in terms of, I don't just do the work as a master. I always see what types of things are good about operations and what kinds of things can be more efficient and can be done differently. Because a lot of times, a lot of miscommunication or mishaps happen because each pharmacist has their own different way of doing things. They have a very particular style. And so that, sometimes old habits can die hard and things like that, right? Another thing is just, layouts of pharmacies. And so I always think about optimization, how to improve on things, not accepting the status quo. And that's what I bring, I guess, to the journey of becoming a pharmacist in a way. And so that's one half of myself, just in terms of, in the future, one of my goals really is to be in the healthcare technology space. And that's, how, the topic will come at hand, or, health tech in particular, right? In terms of innovating, I guess, the pharmacy space, not only just in Canada, but also very interested in looking at issues in the US as well. And so that's a little bit about, my kind of mindset and my career journey so far. And I'm entering pharmacy school at the age of 26, which is, a lot of people will consider that too late, or you're too old, or things like that. I don't consider that at all. It's when people go back to school in their 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter. As long as you're able, if people want to pivot or they want to change their careers, I mean, by all means, right? And it is still a competitive process. What I like to do is think about how, all the years in between, when I wasn't in school, when I was working, shaped my worldview and kind of helped me figure out that my sweet spot was not necessarily in medicine, but was more so of, the pharmaceutical space, but also in the intersection with business, technology, venture capital, entrepreneurship, startups, that kind of area as well. I want to operate in there also. And so that's one half of what I do. And of course, the other half, if the audience isn't familiar, I create a lot of content online in terms of do a lot of online writing, but also a lot of podcasting as well, because I have my own show. It is called Digital Introverts, and it's a show where I interview, high-performing, entrepreneur-minded introverts on how they've been able to find success and fulfillment in their lives while staying true to their personality. I initially started as a pandemic project, but seeing that success, but kind of having great conversations and publish. I mean, it's similar to Dr. Connect TV in a way, except it is not live. It's just it will publish when it needs to be published, but it's the same deal because we're having a great interview, we're having a great conversation, and kind of these skills of both writing and podcasting are indispensable, not only in the medical or healthcare space, but just in general, right? How to articulate your ideas clearly and concisely, how to communicate effectively, how to ask good questions as well, right? And have a great conversation of how to extract and provide value. And so a lot of these, and how to practice your public speaking as well.
You filled us with so many valuable points. And I just would like to step back for a minute. There are a couple of things that I want to reflect what you just said. First, it's not late, and we don't look at specifically at age. Actually, right now I'm finishing to write a book, and it's also about how to find your goal and how to fulfill your life and passion, because used to be traditionally that at that age you're supposed to get to that school, and that's, you go through life, here is your school, that's the college, that's residency, that's graduation, that's your job, and it's sort of that path. And then you arrive here and then you think, now what? Is that exactly what and I'm one of the actually few people that truly do what I love. Where I am right now, it's a biggest surprise to me. Of course, looking how you evolve yourself and develop, this is a new trend. And the second that you said, in terms of the technology, I want to ask you, one question. Where do you see that technology is going? And it's so great that, you are around technology and you are creating so many valuable things. But where do you think we are going? And we just heard Awais speaking about this and AI. Where we will be, you think, 5, 10, 20 years from now?
Wow, that's a great big question.
We don't know the answer, but this is free space, so I'm just trying to think. What I was actually thinking, I don't know. If you ask me 25 years ago that I will be doing what I'm doing, that's not how I envision things at all. So yeah.
Like, I didn't even know I was going to be doing this even 2 years ago. Right, because 2 years ago I was still figuring out my career path, and so how and I think that I've landed on a great intersection. Right, I'm very interested in that convergence of science, business, and technology together. And I feel that health tech is going to revolutionize how we deliver healthcare in a lot of different ways, while it will still bring a lot of different challenges for sure, right? And of course, Awais just talked about the use of AI, right, in the healthcare space, and there's lots of different applications of that, right, from diagnostic imaging to just playing around with different data sets, and anonymized, of course, right, for privacy reasons. But I think the couple of just interesting trends is that I think now there's that rise of digital health in particular, right? Of course, that's exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, as people are reluctant or more hesitant to see their physicians in person, or their caregivers, things like that. A lot of telemedicine is happening, right? Just access, right, especially in rural areas or underserved areas. I think that's going to be more normalized kind of behavior, and we're seeing a lot of just everything because healthcare has been very traditionally done in person, and of course it makes sense, right? You want to have that physician-patient interaction. That's the whole thing. But now we're seeing increasingly that the consumer mindset or the consumer behavior is now completely different, because a lot of people I know who are my age are beginning to see more of their doctors online, right, instead of in person, right? That's more so on the convenience spectrum, right? Yeah. We're seeing a lot more online pharmacies as well. In terms of it's like ordering from Amazon almost, right? Of course for more common over-the-counter drugs, or just basic refills or things like that. Nothing too complicated, but we're seeing that now. Right. Yeah. You think about, pharmacy. I mean, it's a very in-person thing still. I mean, we do that. We provide that service, but seeing that increasing competition, right, from the convenience aspect, right, and the not as high touch. I mean, yes, you can still call to ask questions. Of course, the pharmacist, the main role is to counsel and to answer any questions, right, that people may have about their medications. But now they can do it from the convenience of their own home, through phone, or even through a chat service, encrypted chat service. So definitely a lot of different things to augment or just engage people in a digital manner, right? But I did say there were some caveats to that. And, well, one thing is privacy for sure, right?
Thank you. Yeah, you took us on such a big journey that right now, definitely, I have to put all of it in perspective and actually think myself what I was, asking, because I don't even know where, we should be sort of 10, 15, 20 years.
I mean, like, is there an ultimate destination? We don't even know, right?
We don't really know. Yeah. Thank you, Godwin, very much. It's a pleasure having you. And we all wish you success and congratulations on the pharmacy school. And I would love to stay in touch with you and success on your show and everything. Is anything we can collaborate? I'm open, and we support each other. So thank you. And if you please stay just for a few minutes, I would love to meet you at the end of the hour, at the top of the hour.
Perfect. Sounds good.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Right.
And with that, I would love to invite our next special guest, Amit Goldman. Welcome. What a pleasure. And I would not imagine in my dreams to sit with you shoulder by shoulder.
Absolutely, Michelle. Honestly, you are fascinating, Ludmila. And Mila, right, which means lovely. And it's really, really lovely to be here. And thank you very much for your, gracious invitation. And what you do, it's a great mission. And thank you very much for connecting us all on the virtual platform and giving us a space to share.
Thank you very much. Actually, who are connecting is you are. And that's why I really would love for our audience learn about you, because someone who connects in why I am here with you is because of you, not because of me. You connect so many physicians, so many healthcare providers, so many industries. You develop such an amazing program, and I'm having a goosebumps actually speaking about it. Please tell us your full name, where you located, and a little bit of a backstory.
Oh, absolutely. So, just like all of us, my story began from the Big Bang. We were all made of that same stardust. But jokes aside, I was born and raised in Europe. I work for a company based in Miami, Florida. And I work as director of partnerships and communities. That's what I do during my daytime and during my nighttime.
Yeah.
My extracurricular activities, I'm one of the co-founders of the Meta Club here on Clubhouse and Digital Health Channel and some other spaces where medical professionals, and not only medical professionals, but also professionals in the healthcare field connect online. So the company that I work for, basically what we do, and I love what you said, why do I as a physician have to click 50 clicks, to I don't know, provide medical care? This is so unfair, and we have doctors like Dr. Jonathan Fisher and others who are speaking out loud out there every single day, about physician burnout. And this is not how technology should be, created. This is not how technology, should be used because, it should benefit medical professionals, not vice versa. So my background is actually biomedical. I went to the med school. I got a degree in public health. I went to the business school, worked my entire career in the business development field in private healthcare institutions. And a bit more than a year ago, I got a call from my acquaintance of mine. And, I was invited to join a startup. So basically what we do in my day job is we're trying to create a world that doesn't exist yet. So we're combining the best of robotic automation, AI, right? The one that everybody speaks about, and digital healthcare technologies to create an outstanding virtual and physical healthcare experience. So basically what we're doing, we're creating a platform where medical professionals could connect to their patients, and could get access to the latest technology. And as was mentioned previously, if you're a healthcare professional like myself, I work in the business development. I work from private medical institutions, JCI accredited clinics. I didn't know 2 years ago what the hell is an API, what the hell is an SDK. I'm sorry for my French. I don't speak very well French, but I did learn it some time ago.
We all learned it recently.
Yeah. But the problem is that there has to be a combination of medical professionals, and best tech specialists in order to create something that will actually serve medical professionals. So terms like UX design, user experience, or other terms I've learned just from my last year and a half, my experience in my latest company. And I guess that's where the gap was. The healthcare system, as such, is so archaic, right? Due to the really heavy regulations, and that's why it's running a little bit behind. So I'm pretty happy that me as a young, dynamic person, I get a chance to kind of add my 2 cents in making this world for medical professionals a better place. And and during my extracurricular activities there on Clubhouse, I do host quite a few shows on the medtech field, and it really happened absolutely accidentally. It was COVID, lockdown. What do? You cannot go out. You cannot do anything, right?
So yeah, exactly. Can I do anything? Yes.
The only and as you can see, and most probably as you already know, I'm a pretty talkative person. I work in business development. I do partnerships. And there was Clubhouse, and one day after another, and somehow naturally just became like my favorite hobby, most probably. So this is what I do on my free time, and I do more things, but maybe about those I'll tell in the during one of the coffee breaks that we'll have. So that's kind of my story. And as you said, it's never too late to transition. It's never too late, to do new things. Just be out there, be open. Open up yourself, to the opportunities. And if someone would have told me that I'll be working for a medtech startup today, yeah, I would have never believed. I almost probably would have laughed into that person's face. I would say like, no way.
Yeah.
Yet here I am, so from the previous conversation that you had with Goodwin and with Awais, it was just felt so close to my heart because I was like hearing my own story kind of to some extent. And speaking in regards to Clubhouse, it's such a great and I'm connecting the people, medical professionals. When I've started, because my transition was, as I said, pretty pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
From the private healthcare sector to medtech, I've started learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. Go to every possible webinar, go to every possible online course, like soak in everything, speak with everyone, learn about everything. Yeah. And why Clubhouse was so fascinating for me, that people who have attended these webinars and I got a pleasure to read about, few months later, I got a chance to co-host rooms with them, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, who am I? I didn't go to an Ivy League school, and I'm still in my early days of my career, and it was such a great place to actually connect with people that you admired secretly, and be there, as you said yourself, shoulder by shoulder, with amazing medical professionals, and learn from them and ask questions. And I guess this is what every young person should do, especially in the early stages of their careers, to go out there and learn and connect and ask. And soak in all information.
Yes, and Amit, on a serious portion, we all very much appreciate what you do, because seeing that from your side, we really need this. And the reason also I invited you, that I'm from different generation, and obviously, where I started, there was not much technology, and now we are facing where you come in and you connect in so many people, but we have a different generation. We have some people who more let's say traditionals, and then we have generation X, and then we have millennials, and then we have linksters. So right now we are coming sort of all together, and every generation needs to face this. And how are we connecting? Because there are some generation, it's very difficult to adapt the computer, but then on the other side, we kind of need. And so one question, how we can bring those generations together?
Oh, I love this question, honestly, because we actually even discussed this with my colleague who's a UX designer, user experience designer. And as I said, 2 years ago, I didn't even know what that means, or, what do UX designers do?
Yeah.
And thanks to my work, I've kind of explored that field and learned a lot about it lately. So, you have to make the technology adaptable even to those people who don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's difficult for someone, who's wearing a pair of glasses like me, or maybe someone who's older, and maybe a phone and typing in their phones or like using the applications is something really not adaptable, right? As you said yourself, how do you make it accessible? So you're using these, easy tips and tricks. Maybe you can zoom in the text. Maybe you can use voice to text. Functionalities. So that's why we have UX user experience designers who kind of define ways on how to bridge the bridge between the technology and the person. And for sure, if there's some. I remember my that even in my family, older generation, when they had to adapt technology, and at first, for sure it's a hassle, but you try, and then you like the piano, nobody knows how to play it at first, you don't become a musician from the D1, but and maybe for some people, especially if they're maybe really older, you have to find other ways how to adapt technology. Maybe it doesn't have to be an application. Maybe you can just use a call-in functionality, or maybe you invite an assistant that might help you out there, or you can incorporate your family members into the process somehow to set it up and just let you use the technology. See your doctor, or maybe invite a nurse, or maybe invite someone else, a health coach or someone else who could come and do these steps in order to help, the elderly who will never be able to adapt the technology. Or you create a technology that would be adaptable, like voice to text, zoom in, and we have great examples also, we have great examples also in people with disabilities, how they adapt technology, right?
Yeah. It's a big issue, right? With all healthcare disparities. I mean, a lot of population, we still have a huge health literacy. So how to adapt here?
Exactly. So, and it's very dear to me, because actually my mom, she was lecturing at university in the Faculty of Medicine, and she worked a lot with people with disabilities throughout her career herself. And so actually, there are, smartphones and other technological, solutions that are, that can help, people with disabilities, who cannot see. Even on Clubhouse, there are people that, with disabilities who come there and, they communicate with each other. And it's beautiful because the technology, even if you cannot see, the technology itself reads the names, reads the description. There are these tiny little technological solutions that are built within the phone to help you reach out to others. And I think, honestly, this is beautiful. You just have to have the right people to educate people in need how to use these technological solutions and how to adapt them. And if you'll ask me, I think 50 years ago, when we didn't have that, I think it must have been really difficult for people. And
you probably know that as well. A lot of countries, they don't have that access, and that's why for you sort of speak up. But also we have to emphasize that there are different tools, and you don't have to have this, like you brought up, very important. Someone cannot see. It's visual, it's audio, it's communication, it's a family. So we try to spread the message, globally across the world, where people sort of little by little tune. Yes, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, so much appreciate for your time and joining us. And I would love to have you back, and also all guests today, and Awais and Godwin, and we're going to meet John in a minute and see how we can collaborate and actually take this to the next level. And I would love to connect with you after show. And
Absolutely.
you're connecting so many of us. That thank you for everything you're doing, and the best success with you. And if you can please.
Yes, Ludmila, I know what you're going to say, to stay with you and trust me.
Stay
Even
with me. That's exactly who I want to have on a show, that I don't have to run the show.
Thank you.
I'm just here in the moment. Oh, we love you. And with that, I would like to invite our special guest, John. John, welcome. Thank you for your patience and being with us. And John, please introduce yourself, your full name, where you coming from, and a little bit of a backstory. My heart is very much close to you, and I learned so much about you, and it's a very special place for me, and honor to have you with us.
Thank you. Well, it's actually an honor to be here too. Thank you very much for having me. My name is John Marlowe. I live in Los Angeles, and as for my background, I am a co-founder and chief visionary officer of Pathogene, which is an infectious disease diagnostics company. It's a med tech company. But what brought me on this show was actually my involvement with a nonprofit called Research to the People, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And what it does is it generates research grade, cutting edge data for patients with undiagnosed disease or cancer, variety of conditions of genetic origin or involvement. And then it crowdsources that. It open sources it to 200 to 300 people. Mm-hmm. And so people all over the world are able to work with premium gold or platinum grade data sets that they would normally never get from a clinician's office. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. And can you tell us a little bit of a backstory? How did you get involved, and your roots, where it's coming from?
Sure, of course. Yeah. And I left that part out. What started both of these things, both the company and my involvement with Research to the People, was my undiagnosed and now diagnosed genetic condition, Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, hypermobility type. And that was ultimately discovered to be due to a frameshift mutation in the TNXB gene, which is in the very hard to sequence major histocompatibility complex, in this case, class 3. Mm-hmm. And
yes. Sorry, John, interrupting you. Just for our audience who doesn't know what's frameshift, can you just tell us in a simple word? So it's in a gene, it's a changes.
Yeah, it's a mutation that makes it so, that it doesn't produce the protein properly, because genes are like have these things called codons, and they're in sets of three.
Yeah, they have personality.
Yeah, they're in sets of 3s, and then if one of them if there's like a problem with one, like that, of the codons, one of the bases, it shifts it over, then just the whole reading of the genomic sequence can get borked, and then the protein is not produced. In my case, 90% of the protein is not produced. So I have something called TNXB haploinsufficiency, and so that basically means that I'm not producing enough tennyson X. And that's involved in gastrointestinal mucosal barrier lining. It's involved in for me, muscle formation. So I have a lot of trouble gaining muscle. It's involved in joints, so I have a lot of joint pain. It's involved in skin, so I have a lot of skin infections. There's a lot of issues that I face. Yeah, it can cause a lot of issues, and there could be other genetic things contributing to that. But what I really want to bring to the table with Research to the People, when I joined in 2017, and it was very fortuitous because I had whole genome sequencing 3 times, and with an Illumina platform. And Illumina is something called, and I'm sorry to throw all these terms out at your viewers, but
no, this is excellent, because that's why we're bridging the gap, and we're hearing that from you. And yes, please continue.
So a lot of patients, the standard is something called short read sequencing. So all of you out there that have a genetic disease and are looking to figure out what is the cause of it, when a clinician orders whole exome sequencing or whole genome sequencing, they're probably going to, most overwhelmingly, they're going to be using an Illumina platform. And what that does is short read sequencing, is it takes your 3.2 billion base pairs and it cuts up all of that into segments of 100 to 150 base pair segments. And then it sequences those, and then it stitches them back together in a computer. And then that's how it basically assembles your genome back together. Because, you can't go from one end to the other side of 3.2 billion and expect, not to be 95 by the time that's over, So that does a lot of parallel sequencing. The problem with this is that there are some very repetitive areas in the genome. And one of them is the one that I mentioned, the major histocompatibility complex, classes 1 through 3, which is on chromosome 6. It's very GC rich. So allow me to illustrate. Just imagine you're trying to reassemble a puzzle, right? But just imagine there's segment of the puzzle that's all the same, right? It's all blue. There's nothing differentiating it. So in this case, the MHC is very GC rich. So it goes GC, 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 GC for thousands of characters. And so the computer just goes, whoops, what? I don't know what. And then that causes what's called a sequence gap. And so when you get whole genome sequencing, it's actually technically not whole genome sequencing because there are sequence gaps. And only recently, as of June of this year, was there a telomere. That means end-to-end assembly of a human genome. But that required lots of money and lots of effort because getting rid of sequence gaps is very hard. Anyway, I had my genome sequenced 3 times. And they misdiagnosed me with hereditary fructose intolerance. So I had to go on the wrong diet for 6 months to prove that I had a disease that I was sure I didn't have. So then I read an article from Stanford that said long read sequencing used for the first time in a patient. I believe that's the name of the article. And what it said is that this patient who had cardiac tumors, they were actually convinced there was this certain gene involvement in his cardiac tumors, typical of the tumors they were seeing, but they couldn't find it with Illumina's platform. So what the clinicians did at Stanford was use Pacific Biosciences SMRT, or single molecule real-time sequencing platform, which uses long read sequencing. And what ultimately that is instead of segments of 100 to 150, which it chops the genome into. Instead, long read sequencing can go up to 10,000, 100,000, even in the case of 1 million in the case of PacBio's competitor, Oxford Nanopore. In any case, with this, in conjunction with a hackathon, I was diagnosed, finally.
Yeah, so sorry. It is such a, on one side it's a heartbreaking story, and it's so much strength, and I know how it's vulnerable, and I really hope that things go well now, and so many new things. And it's a lot of people actually walking around and they don't know they have it. And when listening to you, I just sort of want to clarify some for viewers. In the past, not for you, John, for our audience, that before we used to watch with 1 pair of eyes, and right now we watch with 1,000 or maybe 10,000 pair of eyes, and that's exactly what's happening. So the message we want to tell that pursue and stay tuned with technology, so then it actually quality of life improves, and that also helps further your personal health.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, John.
Can I leave one last message? And that is, if any of you out there who have had whole genome sequencing have not found your genetic defect yet, please don't lose heart. Just wait for long read sequencing, and that will be the horse the cavalry that saves you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. And I will see you just in a minute. And with that, please, everyone, stay with us, and we will be right back. Yes, welcome. We have almost all panel back. Yes, thank you very much. And it's such a pleasure to see all of you. Yes. So thank you for joining. And, with that, of course, having so many new changes, and from, heartbreaking story, and hearing John and how Awais experience with the family, and Amit doing so many things, and now with Godwin, we all connecting dots with so much experience. We have few minutes, and I would love to ask each of you on the panel, give it 30 seconds, the last tip for the audience, and we start from Awais. Awais, please, the stage is yours.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
30 seconds starts now. For medical community and healthcare organizations, healthcare professionals, my message is to embrace technology. Try to get into technology, at least get some knowledge of technology so that you can make informed decisions. You can think of innovation. You can collaborate with other people who have some ideas in technology, but how you can bridge this gap together. This is the need of right now, need of the time right now, that the medical community need to come up. And artificial intelligence is going to change a lot of lives. Please collaborate and contribute your part in that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Amit.
Yeah, well, a few things that I would recommend and ask. First of all, I want to invite everyone to, be curious and open-minded. I guess this is one of the main, and hungry. I guess this is one of the main triggers and, wheels that kind of motors, that kind of makes you go further. It doesn't matter whether, you're trying to adapt to technology or whatever, in whatever field you are. I guess that's one of the key factors of success. And, adapt to technology, try things out, and always look for new things, because you never know what's behind, the corner. So thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Godwin, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, well, no pressure. So my main message is just...
I learned this recently. By the way, that's not my field, although we work sort of on the clock. But that 30 seconds I really learned recently.
Yeah, it's you have a very constrained time to get your message across. My main thing is just to embrace change, because change will always happen. And, if you don't, level up your skills time after time, month after month, learn new things, you're going to be left behind, unfortunately. And in this new era of, embracing more technology in healthcare, is more important than ever before to, if you're not going to embrace it right away, just have an open mind, like everyone else said, to just learn about, first of all, just be aware that things are happening. And then second of all, to learn it to the best of your ability. And that goes for any career, healthcare or otherwise. So that's just what I wanted to add.
Yeah, thank you. That's very valuable. John, please.
Sure. So my last 30 seconds for my advice, I would just say that if you have a rare genetic disease and you haven't been diagnosed with Illumina-based sequencing, I would try your best to get involved with a research institution and get long-read whole genome sequencing, because short read only has a 30% diagnostic yield, which is very low. So don't be disheartened. Just ask for the best technology has to offer, like metabolomics, proteomics, long-read sequencing, and then try and get involved with research, because that's what you're going to need in order to get diagnosed. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Actually, that's what I would like to make our next episode and topic about proteomic, genomics, AI, more technology. And unfortunately, we are at the top of the hour. I wish all of those episodes would be longer, right? Last like for 3 hours. But maybe if you would like to come back, I would love to have you on the show. And thank you so much for joining. And with that, thank you all audience and for staying with us on the Dr. Connect show. Please join and subscribe our YouTube channel as well and comment. And we would love to have you on our show. We are super excited to have you on our journey with us. And thank you for watching and listening. And we are looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
I'm
See
Dr.
ya.
Ludmila Schaefer, and I level the playing field of knowledge around disease prevention, research, and patient care to help you to make informed decisions.